name's Jimmy Taylor, and this is my awesome colleague, Kristy English, and we work in the technology team here at Westpac. Now, before we get started, what we're going to do is we're going to show you a quick video about our topic, which is the very dark, exciting, slightly mysterious world of cybersecurity. This video, we think, really encapsulates the importance of cybersecurity in Australia at the moment. I think that's pretty self-explanatory about how that relates to cybersecurity, right? Who am I kidding? I love cat videos. I just needed to play that. So at Westpac, we are turning 200 next year. So we're Australia's oldest bank, Australia's oldest company, and Australia's oldest startup. And cybersecurity is something that we take really seriously, hence the reason why you're wondering why is a bank here talking about that with us today. So to give you a bit of context, we have over 40,000 people that work at Westpac across the whole country. So that's enough people to fill up the SCG, to give you a bit of context around that. We have over 10,000 people that work in the technology team at Westpac. We also have over 13 million people that bank with Westpac as well. So that's over half the population of Australia. And 5 million of those people also are really active with their accounts and use online or mobile banking. So I'm also just really keen to see how many future hackers we have in the room. And I just want you guys just to yell out in your loudest voices, what are some of the more common ways that cyber attacks can occur? Just yell them out. DDoS. Malware, spam.
Wow, I feel like you guys might even know more about this than us, which is interesting. Okay, so the different types, there are obviously many different types of attacks that happen. There are three that we're mainly concerned about because as a bank, we get targeted in these three ways particularly. The first one is phishing emails and phishing websites where people use the Westpac logo to build fake websites or send out fake emails to try and get all your internet banking login details, all that kind of stuff. The second one is data breaches, or what you might know as hacking, where people try to get into our systems to get hold of our data. And the third one is the DDoS stuff I heard a few people yell out, which is basically attacking a website with heaps and heaps of traffic so that it falls over. And the best example of that that's happened recently is what happened with our census last year.
So what do some of these threats actually look like? So Kristy mentioned that there are a number of these phishing emails that go around quite regularly. So last year, there was actually an email that was sent out by the Australian Federal Police, which is up on the screen. I don't know if you guys down the back can see it. But can you see if there's anything remotely dodgy or suspicious about this email? You put your hand up. Unsubscribe at the bottom. Yes. Anything else? Just yell it out. Just one person yell it out. Okay, let me quickly run through them. Okay, so firstly, it's a pretty generic email, right? So there's nothing related to you whatsoever. It doesn't say, Dear Jimmy or Dear Miss English. It's got none of your information on there. Quite often, a number of these emails have dodgy spelling mistakes in them as well, or just really badly constructed sentences. So you might not be able to see, but where it says download case info there, it's actually got download as 2 words. And thirdly as well, these emails are designed to make you actually do something. And so for this instance, you have to download your case info on why you've received a subpoena and then have to go to court. So it's designing to make you have an extreme reaction, to get your heart racing and get you to do something. So instead of really downloading your case info on why you've received an email from the Australian Federal Police, you're actually downloading potentially really bad malware onto your computer, which can completely wipe your computer and get all of your personal information. So that's just an example of these sort of emails. It actually happened to my dad last year, funnily enough. He got an email from the RTA saying that he had a speeding fine and he had to pay $400 to pay this fine. Now, I drive my dad's car quite a fair bit, so he paid for it, clicked a link, paid for it using all of his credit card details, and then he called me about 5 minutes later and went absolutely ballistic at me, saying, "Jimmy, I've just paid a $400 fine for your speeding. You need to pay me back." I was like, I haven't sped recently. So I asked him to send the email on to me, and it was so dodgy. There were so many spelling mistakes. The email that it came from wasn't even from @rta.com.au or whatever it is. It was so dodgy. And I told my dad what he needed to do. He needed to contact the bank, cancel his credit card details, and I kind of laughed at the same time because he completely fell into that trap. So we all have a responsibility as tech-savvy people to watch out for our technology illiterate parents with dodgy emails like this.
The type of hacking and stuff we've been talking about so far requires knowing coding, but there's a whole new type of cyber attacks that are happening called social engineering that are becoming a lot more pervasive. But rather than me explaining it to you, we're going to watch another video, and I promise you there are no cats in this one.
So I invited a few of the world's best hackers to try to hack me and show me where my vulnerabilities are. And now I'm going to meet them in Las Vegas for DEF CON, the biggest hacker convention of the year. They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
Do you want to do a sample phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice solicitation, and basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for uses information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
At gmail.com?
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Shh. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account.
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right, thank you.
Holy shit. So they just gave you access to my entire cell phone account.
You're gonna have to go on and change your password now because it's Jess, my name.
And all it took was a crying baby and a phone call.
Yeah.
So as you can see, it's not just all about coding. We actually have a team of people, a cybersecurity team, and they actually do runs like this and see if they can get some of our staff members to give out information, and then they after that get training so that they don't do it again. All right. So you guys are lucky enough to live in a very connected world where they have the Internet of Things, where everything is connected to the internet these days, even things like cars. So if it's connected to the internet, it can potentially be hacked. So there's actually been, under a controlled environment, an example where someone was able to turn off a Jeep while the person was driving it on a freeway, and the driver couldn't do anything about it. Also, we've had instances of where Barbies have been hacked and used to spy on kids. And there's an even sort of more horrible one where you get a doll, there's an app where you can set up all the information about your kids. So put in a photo, their age, their address, all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, this particular app was linked to a database which wasn't secure, and someone hacked in and stole all that information. So let's make it a bit more pertinent to you guys, though. Who here is a gamer? Whoa. Lots of you? All right. Who here is a PlayStation gamer? not quite so many. Proud guy over there has 2 hands up. All right. So is anyone actually affected by the PlayStation hack that happened a couple of years ago that you know of? Yeah, 1 or 2? Oh, this guy looks scared. All right. So a few years ago, what happened was someone hacked into the PlayStation systems and they stole the username, password, credit card details of 77 million players. So might want to change your password when you get home.
Yeah. Who is actually being targeted? So there are a whole lot of different companies, different industries. Us as individuals get targeted all the time as well. So last year, the Australian Cybersecurity Centre, they released a report that explained that it's actually the energy industries and the large telecommunication companies that get the most amount of attacks received each year. And so the main reason why hackers tend to target those big companies is that they want to cause absolute chaos and mayhem. So can you imagine if a hacker was able to get into the energy grids for New South Wales and completely shut down the state for energy? We wouldn't be able to run our trains, there would be no traffic lights that run, it would be absolute chaos. And so the whole point of these hackers attacking these companies is to ensure that there is absolute chaos.
So we have this team of lovely people up here who are our team of ethical hackers. So these people are actually paid to come to work and hack every day. So they're security experts that sort of learn all about, thank you. They go in and test all of our security controls and make sure they work. And if they find any sort of chinks in our armour, we want to fix them before any of the bad guys can get in and sort of try and get in there before us.
Cool. So I want to play a very quick game with you guys. So bit of context. So cybersecurity is something obviously that's really important for us as a bank. We have, like I said, 13 million customers. We have a whole lot of information about our customers, including a whole lot of their personal details and financial details as well. So there are some people out there, hackers, that are completely obsessed with Westpac, and they have created a number of fake Westpac websites, which they then use to try and get information about our customers. So these are called phishing emails, and we have a team at Westpac that are completely dedicated to taking down these websites. So I want everyone to stand up. All right, so we're going to play a game of heads or tails, right? So I'm going to ask you a question, and then if you think the answer is true, I want you to put your hands on your head, and then if you think the answer is false, then I want you to put your hands on your bum, all right? So, going back to those phishing websites that I was talking about before, our team that are solely responsible for taking down these websites take down over 150 fake Westpac websites per week. Do you think it's true or false? Okay, majority of people think it's true. If that is the case, then stay standing. It is actually true. So for those of you who thought it was false, take a seat. Okay, so the second question is more about the systems that we use. So we have a system at Westpac that sends a whole lot of money around the world to a number of different global banks and bank accounts all around the world. So that system on a daily basis sends over $50 million around the world. Do you think that's true or false? Okay, a bit of a mix this time. The answer is actually false. It's not $50 million. It's actually significantly more. That system on a daily basis actually sends over $82.5 billion every day. Last question. So, at this very point in time, we have over 15,000 customers that are accessing their accounts either through online banking, on the internet, or on their mobile phone. Do you think that's true or false? Okay, the answer is actually true. We do have roughly 15,000 people accessing their accounts right now. So big round of applause to those guys that are still standing. Well done. So the reason why I wanted to ask you guys those questions is just to ensure that you understand some of the threats that large companies do receive, irrespective of whatever industry that they work in. And for us at Westpac, we're definitely really conscious of the importance of cybersecurity and have a lot of measures in place to ensure that the large number of customers we have, and also, you know, that $82.5 billion that we send all around the world doesn't get compromised. What else are we doing at Westpac to kind of deal with cybersecurity threats? So we know that cybersecurity is really important, and we have a really large team of people that work in the technology team that are solely focused on cybersecurity. So a couple of years ago, when the large telephone companies were releasing Touch ID as a security measure for logging onto your phones, we actually had a guy that works in our security team. He actually started out at Westpac as a grad a couple of years ago. And he thought, well, actually, why don't we incorporate Touch ID as a security measure for when our customers use their mobile phone banking app? And so within a week of that technology being released globally, we were the very first bank in the whole entire world that incorporated Touch ID as a security measure on our mobile phones. And that's something that we're really, really proud of. And so it's really important for us as a bank to ensure that there's a generation of people like yourself that are really passionate and interested in technology, and that you do consider working at somewhere like a large bank, because it could be you that comes up with the next big solution to an issue that's really important for us.
Don't know if anybody's seen this guy before. It's got, again, not something we would suggest trying at home, but it has got some things that you could keep an eye out for.
I'm James Veach. I get a ton of scam emails, but instead of deleting them, I decided to hit reply. I got an email about some diamonds. Here's what happened. I got your contact from a South African health officer in Ghana. I find that unlikely. I need to move 1,000 carats of polished diamond. Equally unlikely. Note, this transaction is 100% risk-free and does not attract any danger. So I knew I was in safe hands. Whose hands am I in? Lieutenant Commander Karoma. I'm in. He said, send me your phone number. I gave him the phone number of Goldman Sachs, the bank. He said, James Veach, I'm not sure you are real at all. You gave me phone numbers of a bank which I called, and they say that you are not real, that they don't know you. They even advised me to be very careful about you. Who are you? I am an army intelligence. Is that a thing? I said, there was never a shred of doubt in my mind that I was dealing with an intelligent. How can I prove to you that I am real? How can you prove that you are real in truth? How can any of us prove that we are real? P.S. What are you sending me? I've forgotten. He said the contents of the consignment is 1,000 carats of rough diamonds worth $7.5 million. I said, can I have a picture of the consignment? Well, yes, I can. Boom! He said, send me your ID, passport, driver's license, or any of your valid ID. It was valid at the time. He said, you will need to set up an account with our bank and pay the fee. I said, I'll set up a new account with your bank. There's an offer of a free toaster on at the moment, and I've got my heart set on it. He said, don't worry about getting a toaster. I thought, I'll be the judge of that. And then he told me to contact this bank, masquerading as the Royal Bank of Scotland. But what I love is their email address was info@royalbs, which I think is perfect. And then he said, don't delay. I don't have much days here on Earth. I said, when are you leaving Earth? He said, I have not seen anybody that is more unserious as you are. Even if I die soon, do you have to mock me with it? Just get the runs to the bank. I said, look, I had no idea we were talking about your death. He said, what are you thinking I was talking about? Am I going to Mass? I said, where's Mass? Is that where the toaster is? He said, sorry, I mean Mars, one of the 9 planets of the solar system. Are we counting Pluto then? So I sent an email to Royal Bank of Scotland and I said, look, I'm writing to you about some bling Lieutenant Commander is leaving me and a free toaster you're giving me for opening the account. And they got back to me, they said, please send us the filled in account opening form. And there is no free toaster. Raj Ramesh, head of costume care. I said, dear costume care, are you sure? Because I heard I was getting a free gift for opening the account. What sort of costumes do you do? He said, there is no bonanza going on. And I thought that was an odd choice of word. And then he said, and even if there was, conditions would apply. This is what I sent them. I said, then how do you explain this? Free toaster. With any new account, toaster bonanza! No conditions apply. thought, get out of that. They said, that do not include Royal Bank of Scotland worldwide. I said, what are my options? I could do with a new kettle. He said, we will appreciate it if you do not bring up this gifting again because you won't get any. Just to be clear, are you saying that if I bring it up again, I won't get it, and if I don't bring it up again, I will, or are you just saying I won't get it at all? He said, please stop talking of a free toaster. And I thought, that sounds like a broken man, right? I said, of course, I shan't bring it up again. You have my word. He said, look, what we want from you is to do the right things. I said, I've done some research. I think we should go for the Longifore slicer in red. He said, please stop emailing us.
Alrighty, so before we wrap up, I just want to really quickly talk about you guys. So it's so encouraging to see so many of you guys in the room here today, and I hope that you really walk away from today being inspired and interested in potentially studying and considering a career in technology. So if that is the case, then I highly encourage you to think about UTS as a place to study. It's one of Australia's leading technology universities, and there are heaps of people from UTS here to talk to you about what that might look like for you. Now, one of the cool things that we do at Westpac is we partner with UTS to provide what we call the Westpac Young Technologist Scholarship Program. And so that's designed for students like yourself that will be starting university from their first year in a technology-related degree. And for the full duration of your degree, we'll pay you $5,000 each year. On top of that, you get access to amazing industry events. You can get mentored by people from all around Australia in the technology industry. You can form links to get paid work experience, whether it's at Westpac or with one of our key partners like an IBM or a Telstra. So the whole point of the scholarship program is that you're able to enhance what you're learning and ensure that by the time that you finish your degree, you're in the best position to be the most awesome graduate out there in the market. So if that's something that you're particularly interested in, then definitely come have a chat with either Kristy or I afterwards at our stand outside, and we're more than happy to have a chat with you about that. We also have some really cool virtual reality goggles with us today as well, so if you want to have a bit of a try at that, definitely come swing by. But I just want to say, look, we've got notice that time's up, so if you do have any questions at all, definitely come have a chat with us afterwards. But I just want to say on behalf of Kristy and I, thank you so much for letting us present today, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. Thanks so much.